So the Niners are still in their Super Bowl window, even though they don't know who their quarterback is. But some players are ascending, and some players inevitably will decline this season. Who should the Niners expect to decline?
I would anticipate. Well, we already talked about. I could anticipate Brock Purdy declining because he's going to have more study film on him. He's coming off, obviously, a pretty big elbow injury.
No offseason.
A lot of question marks. There's a lot more to be down on him. There is a lot more to be hopeful on him. There's been plenty of times where we've seen, a stretch of like, God, he looks amazing this year. Can he do it again? Now there's more tape on him and stuff like that. It's like same thing with Cap. Like the first year was great. And then after a year or two, and the read option got figured out, okay, make him to a passer. Okay, he's kind of more of an average player with some explosiveness to him.
Or Jimmy. Jimmy had a great start to his career, tears his ACL, comes back, never was the same. And his issues weren't just his knee, but he was never the same confident player he was before that. Maybe that's the deal with Brock.
Jimmy's though was more like the writing was on the wall because the Niners sucked, right? No one cared about them. They weren't playing great opponents. Whereas Purdy's, I think you could take a little bit more at least than his, his, because it was on a playoff contending team.
Yes.
It was against some good teams, not all of them, but still. And the pressure, my God, the pressure. There was no pressure on Jimmy. He was relaxed out there. He was fine. Purdy, goddamn, had everything against him and easily could have folded, and no one would have blamed him. But yeah, I think this year we could see him making more mistakes. Maybe see situations where he presses. But yeah, I think he's someone they could do just because it's going to be another year in his belt, and that's something that it seems pretty typical, right?
I got another name.
I got plenty of names for you. So
Trent Williams.
Oh,
I mean, it's got to happen eventually, right? He's going to be 35.
Right.
He's a great player, but eventually, I mean, he was already talking about retirement after this season. Like someone asked him about it, and he was like, "Well, you got to consider it." So he didn't, but this could be his last season theoretically. I don't know.
I'll agree with that, but I don't think it'll be because of performance. I think it'll be because his body can't hold up.
He does. He has been getting hurt. He misses a couple of games every year. Yeah, I'm not saying all of a sudden he's going to go out there and get beat left and right. Like, no.
But I mean, he could. But
I mean, like his standard is the greatest of all time. So I don't know if he's going to maintain that. We'll see.
No, because even if he does have a drop off, he'll still be pretty good. He'll still be like a top 5, top 8. And even then, if he's top 8, you're still damn good. He's still your least of your worries on your team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
he's not like Jason Peters at the end. I'm not talking that. You know what I'm saying?
No. Where he's well, speaking of Jason Peters, he could. I think that's where we would see a decline. Is Jason Peters the way his bodies can't hold up anymore?
Yep. So
that's where I see him declining, not performance wise, basically.
That's 2. Anyone else?
Yes. Talanoa Hufunga. Because D'Amico Ryans isn't there anymore. So I wonder, and D'Amico Ryans loved Hufunga. He made sure to really work on him because he saw what he could be. And my God, what an eye for talent that Ryans has, and just the way he brought him up, the way he got a system to work around him to put him in a position to be successful. Can Wilkes somehow find something similar that works that way that can keep Hufunga teetering? Because I don't think he's going to be all pro again. That felt like a huge steal for the 49ers this year. But if they are, God, more power to him. He's going to make everyone look stupid. But still, they have a good starter in him. I know he played terribly the last 6 games of the season, but still, there's a lot to work with there. He could clean it up. Number one, with his eyes, stop being sloppy, stop looking at the buffet behind the line of scrimmage. Don't worry about that. Keep what's in front of you. Play smart, and it's going to rely on what Wilkes can do with him and making sure that he knows he's on his P's and Q's, because a lot of his success was because of how D'Amico Ryans brought him up and where he placed him. So that's somewhere where I wonder, are we going to see a drop in him? Are we going to start seeing him play sloppier? Was all pro caliber Pro Bowl year a blip? That's somewhere I could see. I'm tempted to say he's a likelihood candidate to be in a decline year.
I got one more, and I could be wrong here, but Trevarius Ward, 27. Okay. He's not old, but he was starting to get picked. He's not picked on, but he got exposed a little bit down the stretch. Played really well against AJ Brown the NFC Championship game, but boy, got roasted by DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams. There's no shame in that, but I don't know. I feel like there's tape out there. I don't think teams are scared of him, and I think teams are going to be coming after him. It's going to be interesting to see. Trevarius.
Yeah, it always takes like one elite receiver to go against a good corner and just like, okay, we see some weaknesses, because only elite receivers can make good corners have their weak, become exposed to a degree. Right. And then it's like, okay, we see we can spin him around the top. He'll bite on this on a double move, or maybe you just blow past him. To me, it's just speed with Ward. Because I don't know if you noticed, I did notice in the NFC Championship game, I think they had Ward for a stretch on Devontae Smith. No, who's faster? No, I don't think he was shutting down AJ Brown. They had Ward on someone. I think AJ Brown was kind of blowing past him a little bit, and then they put him on the slower receiver. Devontae Smith, I think, is a little slower. I don't know. I just remember Lenore was keeping up better because Lenore is faster. But I think that's one thing you can look at. Yeah, because I have 5 players who I wrote down on my decline list. So Hufunga, I didn't have Ward. I did not have Ward. I didn't have Williams either, but I did have Hufunga. I did have Purdy. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, what about McCaffrey? Man? It happens fast with running backs. Happens fast.
Is he going to be healthy again? I don't care. I don't give a damn. He had a healthy season last year. He was still kind of gimpy at times, which, okay, great. You made it through the season, but before that, the last 3 to 4 seasons, would tell me that was a little bit of an outlier. A little bit. Not crazy, but call. How many games are you going to miss? Are you going to be healthy again? Because, we haven't seen you in the 49ers offense. And I know that the Panthers kind of in the last 2-3 games before he got traded kind of ran him to the ground, especially that Rams game. My God, they freaking used him like crazy before he got traded to the Niners. Is he really good?
Let me say something real quick, though, about McCaffrey. I think actually Trey Lance could be great for McCaffrey.
Yeah, take more pressure off him. Less pressure.
Yeah, because when he's in the I formation, all eyes are on him. He's just they tee off on him. But if it's who's got it, zone read, Trey Lance or Christian McCaffrey, like that's how he broke into the league with Cam. Just saying, I think he's built for that more than just. I don't think he's a great elite I formation outside zone runner. Like he's good, he's really good. But I think he's elite in the zone read. And he's elite as a receiver.
Yeah, he's elite because of everything he can do.
Right.
Everything you can do, which is like sweet as hell. Yeah, I love positionless players because then it's like
I can do everything.
Mismatch hell. He's pretty much an offensive coordinator's dream.
I got one more, and I expected him to fall off last year, and he didn't. He had a big bounce back season, but George Kittle. Eventually he's going to fall off. But Travis Kelce's chugging in his mid-30s, chugging along. I don't know. Kittle looked great this year, man. His speed was back. His explosion was back. He was making contested catches. It was like he was really good. Can he do it again? One more year?
Just someone pass him the ball. That's it. I mean, we don't know who he is with Trey. We know who he is with Purdy. I think Trey would target him. My God.
So. Purdy definitely does.
I remember last year we talked about in the middle of the season when George was like getting like 2 receptions a game. He was getting like 4 targets. Or actually, I think we saw he was still getting the same targets. It wasn't a drop-off, but it's like, hey, what the hell is the deal with George Kittle? And then all of a sudden, Purdy comes in, oh, that's the deal with him. Jimmy Garoppolo. That's the problem. Someone asked him, maybe it was you, about Kyle Shanahan, George Kittle's targets. Because I remember someone asked Kyle, was it first about Brandon Ayuk? They asked someone about someone's targets. Oh, it was Brandon Ayuk. Then he exploded in Atlanta and just ran on that 4-game like streak of being raw. Then someone ended up asking him about George and think, is the same going to happen? He's like, oh, don't worry about George. Well, and I think he got into like Garoppolo's ear, like, hey, we're going to target this guy. Don't look at anyone else, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, it was the quarterback. There's no debate.
I mean, you could really argue that like a dominant tight end is as valuable as anything in the NFL because you're essentially a wide receiver. You produce like a wide receiver, but you get paid. You get paid so cheaply. It's like it's not really fair. It's not fair at all. But like,
it's not fair. They should get paid more.
Look at the 2 dynasties in the Super Bowl era. Really, so far it's been the Patriots and now the Chiefs. Both teams had the best quarterback in the league and the best tight end. And that was the team essentially. If you have Gronkowski or Kelsey, man, that is quite an asset. So you could argue that Kittle's right there, or not quite, but right there. And if he can just stay healthy, you hold on to that player into his mid-30s. You really do. You do. Now, wide receivers, replaceable. You want depth.
Easily.
You want 5 good wide receivers. You want 4 good running backs. You don't need to spend big money on any one of them, but the Niners do. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, because you could always find like 2nd, 3rd round, even 4th round receivers, and they can end up being good in that 1st, 2nd year. And, the next couple years for you be like top-notch role players, if not playmakers eventually.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't need Tyreek Hill. You just have Travis Kelce, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling is fine. Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman. Guys who are good, explosive, can play a role, and cheap. That's all you need. And you got 5, like they're 4 or 5 deep at wide receiver in Kansas City. They don't spend on that position at all. Tyreek Hill, thank you. We'll
Yeah, they
replace
just have
him.
a good like slew of like solid stable receivers, not necessarily like a really raw ass one, a really dominant one, and then you just like just Travis. Just Travis. It's just hard because what are you gonna do? The only persons who can cover those guys are like the Fred Warners, and how many of those guys are hanging around? Like 2? None?
Exactly. I don't even know if Fred Warner can cover Travis Kelce. He's that good. You know who
Even
can? Jimmy Ward.
Jimmy Ward, Corey, he's just short. Kelce will just get over him. Even in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, Seattle, that's kind of one of my favorites, if not the favorite. Like Cam Chancellor, who was good at covering tight ends, like even like had his fits with Gronk. And they're both like the same size.
No one could ever cover Gronk. And I think when people talk about Brady and his like how great he was down in the back half of his career, a lot of that had to do with Gronk. What did Brady? I mean, I know how many Super Bowls did he win when Gronk was out? One. I know he might have won one, but still, like when Gronk was healthy, they were pretty. Did they win in Tampa? He didn't do shit in Tampa without Gronk. Say that.
No, no, right? That's true.
He didn't do shit.